Coming up next, the Disney Channel takes you on a behind-the-scenes look at the making of the Blue Yonder. The Disney Channel.
Stand by. You're rolling. Very quiet, please.
Rolling. Sounds good.
Team 88 Jackson, take one, mark.
We were looking for a place to shoot the film that would look somewhat like Virginia, and the first place I looked at was Northern California in the Santa Rosa area, and the rolling hills and the cows and the meadows and the blue sky and the puffy clouds convinced me immediately to make the film here, and it's turned out fantastic. The weather's been great, and the people have been really helpful, and it's been wonderful.
Well, I tell you, it's a great feeling to know that you're in a movie that everybody can go see. I mean, the whole family, all ages.
It says a lot of things that are real important to me in my life. Like, you can change your life, you can change history, you can do anything you want.
It's such a delight and such a refreshing change to get a script for young people that doesn't pander to their worst instincts.
Mark originally was more inclined towards the thriller genre, and I said, why don't, it's not only is it G-rated, but try to come up with something personal or close. First, I didn't think I could come up with anything, and then I came up with a story that I've always wanted to do about something about me knowing my grandfather, and I wrote a story about an 11-year-old boy who goes back in time to save the life of his grandfather, who's a biplane pilot.
It was his biggest dream to make it across the Atlantic. He went against his instincts, took the northern route, which was thought to be the best route in those days. He took off that morning, flew into a cloud, disappeared from the face of the earth. Who knows? If he had trusted himself, flown his own course, Max's dream might have come true. But people are going to remember the name Max Knickerbocker. I'm going to make sure of that. I swear it.
And I'm going to be dedicating the movie to my grandfather. His name is Max. The main character, the movie's name is Max. And we in my family, we all called him Opa, which means grandfather in German.
I read the script, and I didn't put it down until I finished it. It just held my interest. I think it's a great script. The first time I saw the young Henry Coogan, played by Frank Simmons, I was amazed at the likeness of him to some of my kid pictures, when I was in my 20s.
Well, put her there, Jonathan. Ever have warm buttermilk? It's a bee's knees.
That's the bee's knees. You can't beat warm buttermilk.
I moved away from doing the stereotypical, Norton sort of boom stuff. I just moved away from that. And I watched Harry and Tonto and The Late Show and some of his other films just to study that, all right, what does Art Carney do as Art Carney, not as a character?
I am a character. Next question.
problem with a child is that in most movies, children play anywhere from a peripheral to a major part in terms of the script. In our movie, there were literally, I would say, only a half a dozen scenes in which Jonathan doesn't appear either by himself or amongst a group of other actors.
Pass the salt.
Try it first.
It needs more salt. You should be getting ready for Little League tryouts. Did you sign up yet?
No. I want to play.
See that he gets his medications at 6.
Where's Henry? What's wrong? I got my start because my brothers used to do commercials, and everybody used to tell my mom, oh, why don't you just get your kids in the business? So my mom had a friend who knew an agent, and then my brother started doing commercials, then I started doing commercials, and then now I do movies.
He's a gift. Huckle's a real gift, and that's how I have always felt about him, even before he got into this business in a big way, because all his brothers and sisters did commercials, and he did commercials from a very early age. But I don't see myself as a mother of a star, just the mother of a 10-year-old.
In the case of any kind of film design, you go for what the script has to achieve, and this one called for a time machine.
In this particular case, the director, who is also the author of the script, wanted to see something along the lines of the interior of a clock, which is not that easy to bring off, but conceptually it's a fascinating idea, which immediately gives you the idea of whirring gears and spinning wheels and that sort of thing. And so that was really the departure point from which we went on this particular piece.
Since the film starts out in the present and goes to the past, I wanted to have some sort of change there, and as opposed to a lot of films that I've seen where the past, they give a brown look and a very sepia tone look, in this film, I went from sort of more of a dreary present to a past that is just glorious and beautiful and a dream come true, because when Jonathan, the main character, goes into the past, it's like he walked into his own fantasy.
Everybody here has got to move with the camera. No, but
these kids, we can.
And we're rolling.
Background.
When Hero and I discussed the style for the film, we talked about the sequences in the past being very lyrical, colorful, lively, so that the young boy, Jonathan, when he goes back in the past, it's not a dreary past, but a very exciting and happy past. And a lot of the scenes have a lot of moving cameras in it, giving the sense of motion and fluidity to the scenes.
I think, from my point of view, one of the biggest challenges was transforming 4th Street to 1927. We literally took a street that it's a working street and had to totally redress it for 2 or 3 days of shooting. And I found that very difficult.
We had like 60 extras, so it was a very busy morning, and we were trying to prep them simultaneously with hair, makeup, and wardrobe, which actually it worked out very well. We all got up real early and got them done by the time that we needed. Basically, for makeup 1927, it's a really simplified version of today's makeup. There are very red lips. There is not too many shades. It's just a red, simple red color. And that's the beginning of the woman's emancipation in makeup.
It was a chance to use a lot of color, which most people don't get that opportunity. Really, most people don't get an opportunity to do films like this anyway. And for that, I'm very lucky. We've had a lot of fun with everything. We never had enough time, but then there never is enough time when you do a period film, because you can always go down to the last detail.
Are you all right?
I'll be darned. The thing flew. I gotta work on that landing, though. Oh.
Do you need any help?
No, I'm fine.
Over to your left, there's a branch under your other foot.
Ah, yeah, thanks. I got it now. Oh! I gotta do something about that tree, too. Oh.
Are you sure you're okay?
Me? Yeah, I'm fine. My name's Max Knickerbocker. Who are you?
Jonathan Nick. I loved the way they dressed in those days. I loved how they had gadgets that were just so perfect. And the cars were beautiful.
On our biggest day with the antique cars, was on 4th Street, without a doubt. We had to fill up the street. I was able to get about 32 cars for 4th Street, and I found them mostly through antique auto clubs around Santa Rosa, Sebastopol area. And I also went to a couple of car shows and got a few independent owners from there. A lot of the cars don't run, so we had to push them into place. No one would ever know that they didn't run if they're just parked. But it was a lot of work pushing them all into place and getting them all set up.
I would think 1927, which we have pictures of and things like that, would probably be the best experience of my life. And I probably wouldn't go back to the 80s if I ever went back to 1927.
The only thing that really scares a stunt person is not doing a good job. That scares you. And then the fear of getting hurt, or in that particular case, more than likely you got killed if something went wrong. That never really crossed your mind until it's all over with. Because when you have an airplane flying at you at 60 miles an hour bouncing off the ground, and you're doing 20, it all happens pretty fast. You don't really have time to be worried about what's going to happen to you. What you're worried about is what's going to happen to the shot. You want the shot to be good. The problem here is the ground's so uneven, then I have to really be careful for turning the car over. That's the worst part of it all.
Tell the grips to bring some sash.
Okay. When are they coming?
I was very impressed with the people, the crew people up here, and I think everyone really did a sensational job.
Directing is not something where I can just say I really love it every day. You know, I don't come off the set going, boy, am I having fun. But it's a real challenge, and I guess that's what I like about it, that it's a lot of hard work.
It was cumbersome. There were a lot of extras that had to be dressed in period costumes. We used a vintage fire truck and a lot of period cars, and we had to construct a plane, the American Legion, which was downed in the West Pond. So it was, again, you know, production headaches.
I think it also presented unusual production headaches in the sense that anytime you get involved with pyrotechnics, fire, anything, smoke, it's dangerous, and it's all very unpredictable.
Contact!
Okay.
The aerial sequence in the film is really the key sequence of the film because the whole movie is about the young boy living his fantasy and going up and flying his own course and living his dream.
Contact! Contact!
Well, the biggest challenge that I had in this picture is the landing strip on top of the mesa that was our main airport. The runway's about, well, we measured it, it's 793 feet long. So if the wind conditions aren't just right, why, the aircraft really eats up the runway, and the beginning of the runway is a cliff, and the end of the runway is a cliff. So you come in too short, you're gonna stop short. And if you go in too long, you can go over the other edge. When you mess with airplanes, it's a very challenging thing. First of all, we needed nose mount shots out of the picture, or the camera ship, which was a Piper Seneca. But then out of the side of the aircraft, we needed certain shots of the Blue Yonder. We needed shots of it, picture shots, beauty shots, just watching it fly.
The gimbal shot was really fun to do because it finally gave us a chance to get the actors in the plane and have them work the controls, and then we directed and choreographed how the plane would bank and turn left and turn right. It was really like conducting an orchestra there with all of the crew on each side of the plane moving it, and the actors were really getting a kick out of it.
I like to do as many of my own stunts as the producers and people will actually let me do, because acting isn't about pretending. I obviously can't fly the plane in a circle. I can't fly the plane in a straight line, but I can actually get in it and experience with my body and test my courage and do all those things. I think audiences like it on some level when they really see that they're not faking it.
we did the scene with the aerials, it was just very important to get both Huckleberry Fox and Peter Coyote up in the plane, so we really had a sense of them flying and the thrills and the excitement of all the things they were doing up there and really being up in the wild blue yonder.
When Huckle was doing his own stunts, I guess I was glad that we were at the landing field so we couldn't exactly see the stunts. But I had spoken to Art Scholl in detail about the straps. That was my fantasy. He was going to fall out of the plane. But I checked the straps myself before he went up and decided that he wasn't going to fall out. And he loved it. He really loved it.
And now for the Knickerbocker Roll.
Being in the air and doing all the stunts was one of the best things I've ever done one night.
How do you feel?
Great.
Great, all right.
He knows he can trust me now for the Q&A.
The camera tilted about so much. None of us. You can still walk without falling down?
When we went upside down, you could see the entire horizon upside down. I didn't do one stunt because I didn't know what the stunt was, and I was just afraid it might be some... It was going to be at 8, and I was just not up to going, yeah.
Great job.
Huckleberry, can you trust me now?